Thursday Night Live. One of my favorite speakers of all time is here with us tonight. Dr. Robinson is one of only a handful of dentists in the country who is triple board certified in dental sleep medicine and craniofacial pain. He has an intense passion for educating patients about the importance of sleep and living a life free of pain. After many years of treating the airway in his general dental practice, Dr. Robinson decided to create a family of specialty practices that focus on identifying and treating the origin of the problem, as opposed to the standard utilization of medications and band-aid fixes that have become far too common in today's medical system. His cutting-edge clinical approach is founded on the principles of first identifying the root cause of his patients' health problems. This approach has allowed Dr. Robinson to offer treatment that resolves the underlying issue, leading patients to a lifetime of health and wellness. Dr. Robinson has invested over 2,000 hours in furthering his education with courses on craniofacial pain and sleep breathing disorders. In addition, he is mentored by some of the world's leading and respected minds in the pain and airway fields. Dr. Robinson is well known for staying ahead of the curve when it comes to TMJ and sleep medicine, and always makes it a point to dedicate time outside of the clinic to share his expertise with others, furthering the hashtag Airway movement. This passion for educating others resulted in the creation of his boutique educational CE company, Integrative Airways, which offers education, training, and mentorship for doctors across the globe. His first published book, The Root Cause, chronicles his patients' health journeys and describes how he has been able to provide them with permanent healing solutions. Today's topic is my journey into airway, TMD, growth, and development. Welcome, Dr. Robinson.
Well, thank you so much for having me. It's a real pleasure.
We are so excited that you're here today. Do you have anything to share with us, presentation at all?
Yeah, I sure do. I was going to pull it up if that's okay.
That's perfectly fine. Otherwise, I can tell you, we talk plenty. We have tons of questions always.
Okay. Yeah. So when I talked to you, I kind of had prepared about 45 minutes or so worth of just content, and then we can get into some Q&A if you want. Does that work for you guys?
That sounds perfect. Go for
Okay.
it.
Awesome. Awesome. Well, thank you so much. Let me get started here. So I know you guys have a lot of great clinical minds that come onto this platform with you, Renata, and the Airway Circle, and describe a lot of the science behind what we do. And I figured I'd take a little bit of a different approach and kind of give you guys my story. I'm very kind of very proud of what we've been able to achieve, and it's just growing, growing, growing. That's the name of the game here. And yeah, I'll share with you guys my story, a little bit about what we have going on, and then would love to you know chat with you guys further. So let's kind of jump in. So this is my beautiful family, of course. No presentation is ever given without giving sort of acknowledgement to the people that keep me grounded, the people that I come home to every day, and why I exist and why I do what I do. So this is my beautiful family. They all have their own airway journeys. We'll get into a little bit of that in just a second here. But I don't know about you guys, but on the East Coast here outside of Philly, we are scheduled for another snow day. So we just got the call about 30 minutes ago that school is canceled. We had a school cancellation 2 days ago, and it looks like we're going to get about 5 to 6 inches of snow tomorrow. So for us here in Philly, that's a whole lot, and people cancel school and they don't drive. So I know other people around the country, that's nothing. But for us, it gives the kids a chance to get off school and have some fun activities. Renata, this is actually Tim Harrington's son Parker and his daughter Willow, and so our kids are best friends. Tim lives like
Ah,
5 houses down the street from me, so they'll be doing some more of this tomorrow, I'm sure.
oh, how
So, oh,
beautiful.
I had to throw this in here.
Oh my gosh. First turn, guys. Look at the difference on my face. That's crazy. I felt so much pressure.
Yeah.
No, I look so different. Even my
Yes.
nose.
So that was a real honor for me. We met up in Philadelphia here, not too, like, what was it, May or something like that?
Cheers,
But
May.
Yeah, cheers to the first turn, and that's me. I got to do it, so big honor and privilege for that. All right, let's jump in. So, as you kind of read on the bio, some disclosures here. So, the majority of my time that I spend nowadays is, I kind of am the chief visionary officer, the chief executive officer for our big portfolio called REM, and I hope you guys appreciate REM because it actually is, we developed this portfolio with in mind the REM sleep, creating the solutions to your problems, and so we're up to about to be up to 15 dental practices here soon in the Delaware, Pennsylvania, and Maryland area. Of course, as Renata mentioned, my integrative airways, kind of consulting thing that we do for education and coaching. And then, of course, our two specialty family of practices, the Pain and Sleep Therapy Center and the Center for Airway and Facial Development. So that's I'll be talking about a little bit of those tonight. So our offices, we've built these sister offices. We created the Pain and Sleep Therapy Center first, and then out of necessity and out of Renee's story, we kind of created the pediatric, airway focused practice as well. But at the Pain and Sleep Therapy Center, we do a lot of adults mostly, but airway, craniofacial pain focused. A lot of our time and energy is spent on helping people who have these problems, these debilitating, morbid problems that have fatigued them and have debilitated them for decades, perhaps. And then more exciting is the newer practice that we developed. The Center for Airway and Facial Development is a early intervention ortho practice, and with a high focus on maximizing growth and development through structural change and functional change. So we'll go more into that, but like Renata said, we like to find and treat the root cause of our patients' health and wellness concerns. So I'm big on connection, collaboration. That's why I do these things. Anybody can reach out to me. That's my cell phone number, and of course my email. We try and stay active on social media. Certainly don't put out the awesome content like Airway Circle, but we try our best, and we piggyback off of their stuff. So always looking to educate more people on this stuff. So our theme in our office, whether you're a kid coming in or you're an adult, who's been suffering for decades, we always ask our patients, why are you here? And then we ask them, what is your victory? So that's a centralized theme in both of our specialty offices. And for me tonight, it's opportunity, another door, another chance to collaborate with like minded people and just share my experience. So very happy to be on here, very privileged. I think we've all seen this, right? Half of what you'll learn in medical school will be shown to be either be dead wrong or out of date within the first 5 years of your graduation. The trouble is that nobody can tell you which half. So the most important thing is to learn how to learn on your own. And who said this for 10 points? My man, Dr. Zagi Sarouche, who's become, a close friend of mine, colleague, and trusted, partner in health. Him and I collaborate, almost every week. We're texting and calling and sharing what we've learned. I've learned so much for him. And what I love about him most is he's so open-minded and so, committed to continuing to develop evidence-based medicine with the way that we do it, which is amazing. So this is kind of like my life mantra. We have this etched into our lunchroom at the Pain and Sleep Therapy Center. So it's famous Maya Angelou quote: "Do the best you can until you know better. Then when you know better, do better." And that's sort of how I've always looked at life. Um, very, very highly dedicated to this. In 2015, it was a game changer. And for me, like I went on a torrid path to continuing to educate myself and, just train with the top people in the field, learn as much as I can, learn all the proprietary stuff out there, and then come back and form my own proprietary system here in Newark, Delaware. So, some certifications that I'm proud of. So of course, always have to boast that. People ask me all the time, who inspires you? Well, these two certainly do. They are, big people that I've kind of follow and have continued to follow, and I just feel like they get people energized, about airway, about breathing, about growth and development, about the, chronic effects that these things can have if we don't treat and treat early. I think these two are great. No one better in the entire world, in my opinion, than the godfather of sleep medicine, Christian Guilleminault. So this is CG, or as I like to call him, the GOAT, the greatest of all time. This is me and Eric Phelps. Eric Phelps is an amazing orthodontist. If you haven't had him on to speak, please do that. He should be your next call. He is in San Jose, California, and he is amazing, amazing, amazing. Is doing some really, really cool things in the ortho world. He's one of the good guys. And Eric and I got a chance to spend a little bit of time with CG right before he passed away. That was 2019 in Marco Island, and what a great weekend that was. So always have to give respect to the people, that we stand on their shoulders. I've had the ability to have many, many great mentors in my life, especially clinically. Here's just a few to name. A few. The guy there in the middle, Scott Manning. He is my life coach. He is my business coach. He is the secret sauce to everything that I'm doing here with my dental portfolio as well as my specialty portfolio. So just love to give credit to people who I've learned from. So thank you to all these people here, of course. And Jim Rohn said, "You're the average of the five people you spend the most time with." And for me, I get to spend time with a lot of cool people. And locally here, I have built a quite a cool management and executive team. Renata, I think you know him pretty well. My ace, my man, my right hand man, TJ. He's my chief operations officer, the bald guy with glasses, as everybody knows him as. He's one of my integrators. He's been with me since this whole Airway thing started, and just an amazing mind there, and helping me navigate the business world. Dane, my chief financial officer, my chief people officer, he is part of our growth and strategy team, and he helps recruit doctors and continue to do mergers and acquisitions. And him and I kind of collaborate every day on what's next, and then taking all my crazy ideas and turning them into a business plan to educate more providers and get more patients healthy. You guys know Tim, I think, the chief marketing officer for me. So here's Tim. Been one of my best friends for a very, very long time. We grew up playing soccer together. And here's Dr. Kyle. He's my chief clinical officer, and he kind of is on his he's kind of on his horse, every day, going through all the different offices, training docs on how to screen for Airway. He's an amazing advocate. He does GP work, but the majority of his time he spends going into practices, making them Airway centric and Airway focused, and continuing to get the word out there. And this is Dr. Joanna's husband. And Dr. Joanna, you guys will get to see in just a minute here. So my pain and sleep team of providers, right now it's myself, that's the founder, Dr. Carly Jacobs. Hopefully you guys have heard of her. She's amazing. She is in Newark a couple days a week with me, and also is in our second location for pain and sleep at the main line. And then, of course, sort of like the highlight of our team here is our nurse practitioner, Rachel. She has learned everything that we do as a dentist, and she brings a really strong medical, neurologic, and nutritional background to our team. So, she's amazing. We're currently in the midst of on our final round of interviews with the second nurse practitioner to bring into the fold here. So, if you guys have not looked at nurse practitioners to bring into the dental practice, man, it's been such a game changer for us. So that's sort of our adult team, our PSC team, our Patrick and Mayo team. Amazing, amazing stuff. This is the practice that I'm most excited about, because these two are going to really disrupt, a lot of the things that are going on in the world right now when it comes to orthodontics and growth and development. Both these guys are just super committed. I can't get them to leave the office. They just always want to consume so much information, and they just treat patients with the utmost sort of with the long-term goal in mind here. So here's Dr. Green and Tiana are my functional therapist, and they just do really amazing things. And then I'm excited to announce, kind of like you, Renat, I get excited for what the future holds. We're bringing on an ortho and a pedo here soon that we just got under contract. We're bringing on another dentist to kind of take my place in Newark, so I can continue to develop more of these specialty practices. And then I just came to an agreement with an osteopath, a DO, who's going to join our team, which is amazing because he does OMM work, and he also does regenerative joint therapy as well with PRF. So really excited about the new team members joining here in 2024. I didn't want to kind of call them out yet because they haven't officially joined the team yet. We just in agreement with them now. So excited for what's to come. Dan Sullivan, famous author, has taught me a whole lot about, it's not always about how you do things, it's about who you can partner with to do things well. And I've always prided myself on, finding people who really have, a passion for doing this stuff, and, teaming up with them. So excited about that. We collaborate so freaking much every single day. We're sending patients to different specialties, getting referrals from different specialties. It's really been very special to learn how to, collaborate, communicate, and work together with, people like this. So well, at PSC, I'll kind of run through this a little bit quicker so we're not kind of down into the weeds. But, at Pain and Sleep Therapy Center, we do everything airway related, everything sleep. We do a lot of TMJ, non surgical TMJ stuff. We use a lot of decompression orthotics. We have some really, really cool PRF injection regenerative therapy we're now doing in the joint. Um, we're about to publish some papers on that, and then we obviously do a lot of untreated and undiagnosed headaches and chronic pain as well. And if you really have done some education on your own on this, you'll really find out that the three of these are highly connected. And you can't really treat pain without understanding what airway is and how it kind of contributes to that pain syndrome that a lot of these patients come in with. And then, of course, our pediatric practice, our AFD practice, as we call it, early intervention orthodontics, not just your typical ortho office, burn and churn, seeing, 10, 15 new patients a day. We see just a couple of new patients a day and really work on coming up with a comprehensive plan. ENT, working with ENT, working with, the myofunctional therapy team, working with the osteopathic team, really to get these kids, better and feeling better and more importantly, growing and developing, appropriately. Tongue tie releases, of course, that's been a big part of how we got started is tongue tie release and then the myofunctional therapy piece, which I know you guys are all very familiar with. So, the new paradigm in sleep medicine here, I mean, it truly is a multidisciplinary approach. Everybody looks at it from a different angle. That's what I've learned is like I used to get mad at orthodontists, when they would look at things differently than me. I would used to get mad at the sleep physicians that I work with. You got to get over that because you got to realize that everybody's taking sort of a different angle here. And when you really adopt the comprehensive collaborative approach, I think the patients ultimately win. I think the community ultimately wins. And, you break down more of those barriers that we've long tried to fight to break down. So, I'm a big collaborator. A lot of my best friends now are cardiologists that refer to me, so, just continuing to educate them and, show them what us small-minded dentist people can do for them. And I think it's really amazing. So,
This podcast is brought to you by the members of Airway Circle, the premier community for healthcare professionals passionate about airway health. If you're a medical professional looking to enhance your knowledge and stay ahead in the rapidly evolving field of airway health, we've got something special for you. By joining the Airway Circle membership, you're not only helping us bring this podcast and our professional directory to the public at no charge, you'll also gain exclusive access to a treasure trove of knowledge with hundreds of expert lectures. Whether you're a seasoned practitioner or just starting your journey, our diverse range of topics, and that's not all. As a member, you become part of a vibrant community of like-minded professionals. Have the opportunity to learn from experts, participate in live Q&A sessions, and engage in discussions that will deepen your understanding of airway health. So don't miss out. Join Airway Circle membership today and come grow with us. Airway Circle, where knowledge meets community.
Here's a little bit of our approach. So when someone comes into our office with an airway issue, back in the day, we just made a lot of mandibular advancement devices. We made a lot of MADs, if you will, oral appliances. And like as we became more mature in our thoughts, as we continue to train with others, as we continue to be open-minded, curious, humble, and hungry, we continue to learn that there's a lot of different modalities out here. And we do a good job explaining this to our patients. When a patient comes in and they have a problem that they want us to help them with, we first identify the problem. We give them a diagnosis. We figure out exactly what's going on. We get to the root cause of the problem. And then we really give them options. Hey, John, 75 years old, who's had these issues forever, you have this problem. Do you want us to manage it for the rest of your life? Or do you want us to try and resolve it? And I think they're two completely separate, things. You're doing the MARPI for a reason. You're doing it to resolve your issues, not just manage your issues. We're not cardiologists handing out pills to control people's blood pressure. We really want to treat the blood pressure and the reason why it's there, in the first place. So, instead of like just oral appliances, CPAP, even Inspire, which we set up a lot of patients with these days, we really want to get to the root of it. We really want to change the way that they look at food. We want to change, their function. We want to put them into a comprehensive myo plan. We want to do breathing retraining, teaching every single patient that until we can get continuous, positive, non-restrictive breathing through the nose and airway function, only until then have we really realized the true potential that our patients can transform themselves and begin to resolve their issues. I truly believe after doing this for many, many years, when Dr. Zaghi told me how to do a functional frenuloplasty for the first time, I think in like 2017, I was at a Barry Raphael course and Zaghi was there teaching, functionals. I've been doing them ever since. So I don't know how many other providers out there have been doing thousands of these, but I've done a lot of them. And I can really truly tell you, if you're not looking at tongue tie, if you're not looking at tongue space, if you're not looking at tongue function, how that integrates with the rest of the body, man, you're missing a big piece. Not overlooking nasal obstruction, and then of course, what like my wife went through was the MMA surgery. So there's a lot of ways that we can not only manage our patients' problems, but give them even more hope to resolve their issues. So I hope you guys, a lot of you who are advancing this, really appreciate like how many different options, how many different modalities we have at our fingertips now. It's amazing, and it continues to be amazing. So I wanted to give you guys just a little kind of behind the scenes on me and kind of how I got to this point. So, everybody's searching for their why. And for me, I was fortunate enough to find this when I was like, 34 years old. And now I'm 39. I'm going about to be in my 40th year of life here pretty soon this year. But anyway, big, big, big proponent of Simon Sinek. I've read all of his books, and he always talks about like start with why. So I figured I'd share some behind the scenes look for you guys. Find your why, and you'll find your way. So here's me and my two best buddies from dental school. So why did I go to dental school? I'm humble enough to say I went to dental school. Yes, I wanted to help people. I did not want to be a physician dealing with morbidity and mortality. I really, really thought that, making my own schedule, having a lot of time out of work to just, be with my family and have hobbies and things like that was going to be a big reason for me to become a dentist. I wanted to be my own boss. Everybody that knows me knows that, I like to be the leader. And no doubt about it. I wanted to make a ton of money. I come from a pretty poor family. I mean, my mom was a secretary, my dad was on the train tracks, working his butt off, loading boxes for a living. And I came through the struggle, and I was very, very clear with myself that I did not want to have to go through the struggle myself. I wanted to make money, and I wanted to earn a good income in order to support my family and do more good for the people in this community. So, I started off in 2012. I bought this practice called Pike Creek Dental. I went to work making it my own. I started coined this like wow patient experience, which you'll see a book coming out about that here in just a little bit that I'm working on with Forbes. And so, that's where it all started. Pike Creek Dental is sort of the breeding ground for me. And really, in summary, out of all my time in the GP practices, I learned this, and this can go across the board, whatever you guys are doing in your own personal lives. Like you don't build a business, you build people, and then they build the business for you. It's about teams, it's about systems, it's about giving people opportunity. And so I feel like I've done a really good job of, helping everybody see, what their success could look like. So, no doubt about it, this was me. I was doing really, really well as a GP. I was grinding, I was prepping, I was running 3 to 4 hygiene by myself. I was running 3 chairs of doctor by myself. I was literally burning and churning. Yes, I was making a good income. My mom thought I was Elon Musk. I think she thought I was the richest man in the world. And she's very proud of me. But like I found myself being more of that like lower right, picture there where I didn't really feel like, the work that I was doing was actually my calling. I didn't feel real passion for what I was doing. And the drill and fill game it's necessary, right? I mean, there is definitely disease in the mouth that we need to treat, but I always felt like there was something more and I was missing something. So little role reversal here. Here's a longtime assistant of mine named Ashley, and here's her working on the patient and me assisting. I joke with people all the time. I was like, they were like, "Do you miss dentistry at all?" I'm like, "Not really." I mean, I think I was a good dentist, but I mean, I probably would have been a better assistant than I would have been a dentist. I'm not like really technical with my hands, so I'm always like thinking about what's going on. So I would have been a good assistant, like, "Hey, doc, get up. They're looking for you in hygiene. Go over here. Oh, we're late over here." I'm a big picture guy. So here's a little picture of me, Ashley, working on the patient and me assisting her. But this was me at the end of a long day. I would come home and I'm like, holy shit, I'm dead. I'm beat. I mean, it was almost like you're making a ton of money. You feel like you're at the ultimate height of your success. And like something just didn't feel right with me. So like this is a picture of me coming home after a long day's work in the clinic and just totally burnt out. Look at me. I'm an embarrassment. I got Cheetos on my shirt, and then with Cheetos on my chin here. I mean, this is total embarrassment. This is like coming home from just a day in the clinic. I'm actually just kidding with you guys. This is a night out in Vegas with Renata, and this is what happened. But this is how I felt. This is how I felt when I left clinic. On a daily basis, I felt burnt out, and I just felt like there was something more that I was missing. So, I kind of had to go back to the basics and say, what is my passion? What am I doing here in this dental world? What is my purpose? What do I want to be when I grow up? Here's one of my favorite quotes: "Your talent determines what you can do. Your motivation determines how much you're willing to do, but your attitude determines how well you do it."
Wow.
Famous Notre Dame coach Lou Holtz there. So I really went back to the drawing board and I challenged myself. So here we are, 2015, the turning point. Man, I'm at Pike Creek Dental. Like I said, I'm crushing. I have two associates that are working for me. I'm going to a bunch of CE, like because I was never settled. I could call myself the jack of all trades. And then I took an Airway course, and literally it challenged me to my core. I said, "Holy smokes! How did I not know that there's an airway? There's a breathing mechanism behind all these teeth that I've been working on." I mean, literally since 2015, I don't think I've taken anything but a business or an Airway and TMJ course since then. I've not taken a laser dentistry course. I've not taken any perio course. Oh, I've dropped all of that. All I wanted to focus on was Airway. And turns out 2015 was when my son was born. I became a dad for the first time. And for those of you with kids, when you have kids, it definitely changes your life. You have to figure out, what are you doing? Are you creating a legacy? Are you doing something that you're passionate about, or you have people to take care of, and you want them to look at you with the utmost respect, like you're making a difference, like you're disrupting a community that needs to be disrupted. So that was the turning point for me. That was my evolution and revolution, if you will. There's a whole new world out there that I didn't even know existed. There's mountains that I've yet to climb, and there are challenges that I've yet to encounter, and I'm ready to take these on. So, as a new dad, as someone who became, my aha moment, educated on the Airway, here I go. I'm burning and churning. This guy taught me a whole lot about TMJ and sleep. I'll give him credit for turning me on to how united TMJ and sleep really is and how they're both so connected. That's 2016. I took that, came back. Who was the first patient? Well, that's my mom. And my mom, turns out, she has sleep apnea. So did anybody test my mom for sleep apnea? No. Was I the first one to test my mom for sleep apnea? Yeah. So who do you think I treated next? She was easy, right? Your mom will always be your biggest cheerleader. No matter what you're doing in life, your mom will always be your biggest cheerleader. So my mom she signed up as my first patient. Next was my dad. There's my dad. My dad has an AHI of 18. My dad had 6 bypass surgery when I was in high school. He's a member of the zipper chest team. So they ripped his chest open. They did bypass surgery on him. Never once did his physician or cardiologist even mention Airway, even mention sleep, even mention a sleep test, even mention anything about that. Of course, I've treated them successfully now since 2016, I think, is when I first dropped appliances in their mouths and started teaching them how to breathe properly. So it started with my parents, then moved on. There's my buddy. There's my son Bryce. I think he's maybe not even 2 years old at this point. My son, and here's my daughter, who was born in 2017. They both went through big, long hospital stays, having trouble breathing. I'm like, this sleep apnea thing is not just for adults. This airway thing is real. I see it. Like, how can we get our kids to breathe better? What's going on? Why are our kids breathing through their mouth? Why are all these kids now needing orthodontics more so now than ever? So it really challenged me to take on like what actually, what actually is at the root of this airway thing and how does it all start? So we began to treat my kids, right? So that's the nebulizer. That's the Saturday morning with my son. Why that kills you when your son's sitting on the couch on a Saturday morning watching cartoons and has a machine on his face. Like I don't, what's next? A CPAP device for him? So how do we fix this? So of course, that's when myofunctional therapy came on board. That's when I got one of my hygienists who was at my old practice. She started doing myofunctional therapy. She started doing breathing work on these kids. We started putting these functional appliances. That there's my little girl and Bryce watching TV. Anytime they earned iPad time, they had to have the myo brace in their mouth. They had to be lip training. They had to be getting lip competency. They had to be working on tongue up on the roof of their mouth. They had to be doing diaphragmatic breathing. So there we are in the clinic, hand on chest, hand on tummy. You guys know the Patrick McCown type treatments here with Buteyko and all the cool stuff that he brings. So we got started at a very young age, right? Here's my daughter on the left. We have fixed expanders on her. We are cranking her open as we speak. My son there on the right with his ALF device. And my son got his ALF when he was 5, and he still has it in. He's 8 now. My daughter got an ALF when she was 3. I think she was the first 3-year-old in our practice to get an ALF, and now we have her in fixed expander. So Renata, there's a lot of people that are here with you on the mission. My kids being 2 of them, but I'll give you just a really really brief sort of story here. This is my beautiful wife, and Renee and I have been together since middle school. You will see that here. That's us in high school. That is I think like homecoming in high school. That's me, believe it or not. That's Renee.
Gosh,
Um,
I've not seen this photo before.
yeah, 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 yeah. So it's on my parents' fridge. I had to ask them to send it to me. So anyway, this is my wife and I. We've been together since middle school, and really, we had quite a time trying to figure her out. To be completely transparent with you, my wife and I weren't, seeing eye to eye for a good part of our marriage, and she was like too tired for me. She always wanted to go to bed early and sleep in. And I didn't think she had the energy for life that I did. And, caused a lot of conflict because we didn't see the world in the same, lens. And, I felt like a biggest jerk in the world when I realized that, she was suffering from a major airway problem. I mean, major, major airway problem. I mean, most of her issues were, fatigue, hormonal, ENT related, tubes in her ears. I mean, mouth breathing, but I mean, she was, completely suffering, and when none of us knew it. I mean, we never recognized it. Nobody else recognized it. We didn't understand her GI issues. We didn't understand her hormonal issues. But of course, we started MSE. Here she is, 6 weeks with the Michael Strahan gap. What a beautiful sight it was. This is a number of years ago, of course, and then here she is at her expansion kind of finish line with the great Dr. Mariana Evans, who did her case. Here she is. Look at the great development there. It really makes a huge difference. I mean, it really does. I can tell you when I started cranking her MSE, Renata, like she noticed a ton of flow of air through her nose, more than she's ever noticed, and it was just completely revolutionary. So we expanded her. That did wonders for her. But of course, we took it the next step. We flew her out to California. My buddy Michael Gunson out there in Santa Barbara, California, did a bang up job, and I mean that in the nicest way possible. He made her beautiful. He made her absolutely beautiful. And not just cosmetically speaking, but breathing and all the good benefits that she had. So what it wouldn't be a full case without the hands of all of the gods touching my wife. So funny enough, we went out to LA, and I'm just passing through really. I called Sarush and said, "Hey, Renee and I are passing through. We're going to go to Temecula to go to the winery. I'm going to stop in and just say hello to you, check it out." So I stop in. Him and I are shooting the stuff as we always do. And I said, "Hey, Sarush," I said, "I'm actually releasing Renee's tongue in 2 weeks." And he goes, "Really?" He goes, can I take a peek at it?" So, we're sitting there eating lunch, and he goes, can I do it? Can I do it?" So I looked at Renee. She looked at me. I said, "Renee, do you want Sarush or do you want me?" And she goes, I think I'll take Sarush. So Sarush got to release her tongue. And I'm not going to show you the video, but he did a really good job. And here's sort of the end of her treatment. So all these really really crazy things that nobody else could understand. They all began to resolve. She's the happiest, healthiest human being now. I mean, now she's got more energy than I do. She wakes up at Christ 5:30, 6 o'clock in the morning, beats me to the Peloton. She's now staying up later with me. We're reconnecting like we never have. And one of the coolest things about Renee's case is she was an early educator. She was a teacher for the majority of her career. Well, guess what? Now she's running AFD and she's the office manager for the Center for Airway and Facial Development. So she says, her mission in life is to not let any kid go through what she went through. And to me, that's the most powerful thing in the whole entire world. Renata, I'm sure you have a similar story like that. But like with the stuff that you're going through, like, we don't want these kids to go through with that. Like, that's why we treat kids, right? So, like, what do we learn with all this? We learned that all of these airways can be prevented, right? We don't have to wait. Why wait? Why are we waiting and then treating? These things can be prevented. I swear to God, if we get there early enough, you can transform every person, every kid that walks into your office not knowing what's going on and asking for help. I wanted to share just two cases with you and then open this up, to some discussion. But here's CJ. You guys see the problem here, right? This is an osteopathic nightmare. So if you're not taking postural photos with your new patients, I think you should. You gotta like see what all these full body integrative changes that are happening. Like, take postural photos. I promise you, you will be the best educator out there, because when you can show physicians and you can show pediatricians and you can show other dentists the fact that what you're doing in the kid's mouth and how it relates to the rest of the body is so dramatic. I mean, there's no disputing this. There really is no disputing this. I mean, this kid comes in, grinding his teeth, mouth breathing, restless sleep. His parents have no idea what's going on, nightmares, waking up through the night, sweating. He's already had his tonsils and adenoids out, right? Isn't that it, Renato? Right? We have an issue and we just take the tonsils and adenoids out. That's all we do, it, right? That's what the white papers say. That's what the physicians say. Well, that's not good enough. It's not good enough for us. When with the tonsils and adenoids come out, we have to retest. Is this kid healthy? Is this kid on their path to development? Well, CJ certainly isn't. Here's a 4-year-old, right? Look at this. Crazy, right? So we took a little scout over here, a little Seth. Sometimes 4-year-olds, it's hard to get them to sit still in the CT scan, but we do the best we can. You get a good idea that he's not really developing properly. His airway isn't developed. And look at that upper jaw, man. That makes you like, and look, there's space, but like, look at it. That can't even fit his own thumb. Like, look how narrow he is. What do you think that tongue is thinking, right? So, here's his diagnosis: maxillary transverse deficiency, deep bite, low resting tongue position, improper swallow, facial grimace, nasal valve collapse on the left side. What are we going to do? We're going to do myofunctional therapy. What are we going to do? We're going to figure out if he has any allergies to anything. What are we going to do? We're going to refer him to our osteopath to address his posture and help integrate everything that we're doing at our center, with the rest of his body. We're going to make him an ALF growth appliance. We use a lot of those, by the way. We use all types of appliances, but we use a lot of ALFs. Here he is. This is the same kid. You guys believe it? This is like, what is this, like 6 months in or something? Look at that palette. Look at the spacing. Look what that light wire is doing. Guys, this is not cranking stuff. This is allowing the body to unwind what was going on. This is allowing the tongue to go up and begin moving, his maxilla in the right position. This is letting the lower jaw follow. Here he is. Like, what a difference. What an amazing difference. I know, for the sake of time, because Renata said keep it to 45 minutes. I'm gonna not show
If
you the testimony, but look at this
if you
posture.
have time, we have time, just to let you know.
Okay, okay, cool. So here's the posture before and after. I mean, this is not even a year. I mean, look at this kid. He's completely transformed. Here's his long-term follow-up. Look at that. Isn't that amazing? Right? Here he is. This is our boy Connor, right? And his mom said, "It's amazing what a small appliance and a little bit of therapy, how that transformed, their family." She talks about all the stresses that were in their family and how we made such a big impact. And we're growing advocates. We're growing ambassadors every single day for our brand, for what we're doing, the Airway movement. We're educating this community here and then outside of this community. So it's been really powerful. I wanted to share with you this story because, one thing that I think you guys that have been doing this long enough will see is this isn't just when you treat these patients, you don't just get physical changes. There's a lot of new research. There's a lot of new ideas being shared around how this affects, cognitive dysfunction. This affects, the brain and all of the new, things that we're learning how important sleep, REM, delta wave sleep is when it comes to, allowing these, these neurosynapses to happen, allowing the brain to develop, the gray matter of the brain to develop, and connecting all of these, so integral parts of the patient's brains when they're growing and developing. So I wanted to share this because this is Andrew. This is a guy I treated about 5 years ago, and he came in recently when we had a team on site that was doing some filming for us, and we reached back out to Andrew, and like we were blown away because he never gave us this testimonial before. So this is a long-term follow-up, and I want you to just listen, and then I'm going to end it there.
Uh,
I feel like I was awake, and then short-term memory was always an issue. You know, just getting through the day could be very problematic, especially since I'm a server and a bartender. It's pretty demanding, so you need to be energetic. Some people are just groggy, some people are just tired, some people that get cranky. Okay, fine. In my case, this physical condition led to a misdiagnosis, not a medical misdiagnosis, a psychiatric. 30 years of my life gone because people weren't looking for this stuff. My first name's Andrew. I've been a patient of pain and sleep therapy through Pike Creek Dental for about 4 years now. The doctor basically was showing me that I was grinding my teeth down here and here. He said, "Hey, I think you might have sleep apnea." Gave me a sleep test and ended up convincing me to get treatment. Basically, I ground down two teeth. Sleep was never right. And it ended up changing once I finally got some treatment by Dr. Robinson. He had a very thorough examination process. So he checked out everything. They bring me in. They do a full MRI scan on your head, and he was able to show me everything that was going on. Number one, I had a short tongue, just a genetic thing, runs in the family. My mom had one. She got hers fixed when I was 6. I never got looked at for it whatsoever. He showed me like the indents on my tongue I've had my whole life from having a short tongue, and that tongue really braced against teeth while you're asleep. He also showed me I was getting arthritis in both of my TMD joints in the jaw, and the jaw meets the neck and the skull. So it was pretty intense. He also showed me I had a good airway, so that was nice. I guess that was making up for things during the day when I actually could breathe. But basically, what he told me was that because of the short tongue, I wasn't able to extend my tongue up while I slept. So in essence, I was choking myself with my own tongue and grinding my teeth just to kind of keep the air which you're supposed to have and you breathe in through your nose. It's supposed to go right into your lungs. In my case, it was just being held back by my own tongue, so I would have the apneas. So the fix for that is to get a phrynectomy, which is basically the band that holds your tongue to the bottom portion of your jaw before your mouth. You cut that back and back and back and back as far as you possibly can. But it wasn't just a, hey, we're going to do this and your life's going to be better. They also put you through therapy. They talk to you about things you might need to do. They give you exercises to take home with you. So once the surgery's over, you actually use your tongue properly, eat, talk, sip on a cup of coffee. So he was extremely thorough and walked you through every single bit of the process, which I loved. One day after post-op, everything was fine. I was able to talk and eat and sleep perfectly well. In fact, it was the best sleep of my life. Like all of a sudden I go from sleeping 9 hours and still feeling groggy to 6 and feeling just fine, which is pretty incredible. 30 years ago, I started having depression, 10 years old, little kid, fourth grader. By the time I'm 12, I'm going to get tested for ADHD. They say you have ADHD. They put me on Ritalin. So by 13, that wasn't working anymore. Now I'm on Dexedrine. Then I'm on Prozac. Then I'm on Depakote. With the Depakote, they diagnose me as bipolar. That doesn't work. I break down first week of 1996. I got checked into a mental institution right down the road here. It's called Medellin. And then I have schizophrenia allegedly. And basically, most of my teen years were spent on and off different psychiatric medications. 5 years ago, 2017, I start feeling a little off. I start feeling a little paranoid. It's weird. I don't want to backslide, as they say, into this state of mind. Get diagnosed, so you've got borderline personality disorder with schizotypal features, which basically means you're on the outer edge of schizophrenia. It's an onset disease. So go through all of that. I get this pronectomy. All of those issues start to go away. My sleep improves, my mental health improves, I get calmer, my short term memory improves. I went back this past year just to get a check, to see if this really was the cause of all those issues, this sleep apnea issue, if that had led me down a path, basically insanity and medical mistreatment. So I go in, I fill out a questionnaire for the same people that did my psychological exam back in 2017. Fill out a questionnaire, make an appointment, have a 1 hour interview with a psychologist. She goes through everything. We talk about how you're feeling, what's your sleep like, what's your family life like, are you feeling this way that you used to? And I was truthful with her. I said, no, really, there was nothing to report. She sends me back, an evaluation paper, some evaluation paperwork after telling me there's no justification for a full psychological exam. She can't justify it to an insurance company because there's nothing there. I said, am I neurotypical now? Which is the term they use instead of normal. Yes, you're neurotypical. I get the report back. It says major depressive disorder in remission. 30 years of my life gone because people weren't looking for this stuff. And now I get to know what it's like to be like most of everyone else. It's night and day. It's heavenly. And I've done a lot of research on this stuff too. Say the military, Veterans Affairs. They did an observational study. They compared two groups, sleep apnea, non-sleep apnea. In the sleep apnea group, all the major affective disorders, depression, ADHD, bipolar, schizophrenia, etc., they double in the sleep apnea group, all the way down. It's insane. I thought to myself about this and what I'm going to say here today. And basically, a $1,700 procedure was life changing to me at 36. Took me from a place where maybe I don't know what would have happened. I don't know if I would have been back on medicines. It quite frankly didn't work because I didn't have that condition for schizophrenia or bipolar or ADHD. This procedure is the difference between, for me, sanity in a normal life or insanity and degrading. So
Wow. Wow.
Yeah, so, pretty cool, but that's you do this long enough, you're gonna get a lot of these patients that come in that you completely change their entire world, and, for some people, it could be the matter of life or death. So it's so funny when you talk to people, "I just don't see much sleep or pain in my practice." And I just say, you can't see what you don't know to look for, right? Frank Spear is famous for saying, "You can only treat what you see, you can only see what you know." And, all these major educational programs like Spear and Coyce and Pankey and LVI, they're all on board with Airway now. Isn't it funny? Like they just got
Mhm.
they're all on board now, and I love that. It's so good. But Frank has a big, following now with Airway with Jeff Rouse and what they're doing there. So it's amazing. It's amazing how this is, really infiltrating everyone. So I'll finish with this. That Andrew case that I just showed you, that would be good enough for me. I could retire right there and feel like, holy smokes, I made a difference in that person's life and I'm already accomplished. But, we need to use that as a catalyst. We need to use that as, another bridge to connect more people. So, although we've been doing this for a little while, we're really just getting started. And so, thank you so much for, allowing me the opportunity to come on here, Renata. I really appreciate it. And being able to share kind of some of the things that I've learned. So hopefully you guys enjoyed that.
Yay! Oh my goodness. Thank you, thank you, thank you. That was wonderful. Your ALF cases, your ALF cases, I noticed with that one little boy that he had an overbite. Did you only do an ALF?
Yeah, yeah, yeah. Only an ALF. Yep, yep. That's it.
Wow.
I mean, we're using lasers and stuff like that in here as well. So we are treating. We have a we have a SUMAS laser. We have a Photona laser. We have all that stuff. We do osteopathic work. We really really highly focus everything on myofunctional therapy. So yeah, it's amazing some of the transformations that you'll see. I mean, I've seen fixed expander cases, and they don't turn out, as broad and as big as an ALF case. It really goes to show you that it's not just about, structure and cranking. It's a lot about how the body responds to, the treatment that you put in there, and how well it integrates. So yeah, but
Wow.
good. Yeah, good question.
Also with the ALF, in terms of the osteopathic work, do you guys have a protocol that you use?
Um, yes. However, we kind of let the osteopath do what they do
Mm-hmm.
and do what we do. I know, and I'll say this. Um, Admittedly, I don't do any of the ALFs. Dr. Green does all of them. She
Okay.
does every single one that comes out of our office. So she would be more dialed in on the clinical protocols than I would be, and so would Tiana. But I know we work with a couple osteopaths in our area, and they have specific timing on when they want to see somebody. I think they see them
Okay.
like a few days before the ALF goes in and gets adjusted, and then they see them, I think, a week after it goes in. But yeah, there's definitely protocols, and I'd be happy to connect Dr. Green and Dr. Lake and
They can
Tiana
come
with
speak for us.
with anybody who can. Yeah, yeah. Dr. Green would love to come speak, and even Tiana. Maybe we could even do a where my osteopath comes on here and speaks with them and talk about that triad that they've built and how. I mean, Joanna has hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of cases at this point that
Oh,
she can
wow.
show. So she's a lot cooler of a provider than I am. I get to showcase her work, and I get the image and the glory of it, but I still only treat the adults. The kids are more fun.
Yes, definitely. Let's set something up. That would be amazing for us to do. What would Dr. Terry Patrick is asking this? What would Dr. Robinson say about the concept of third molar tooth bud ablation and the ramifications of that technology becoming a trend? Genetics, humanity losing the ability to have third molars, even smaller jaws? I haven't even heard of it. That's very interesting.
Yeah, no, me neither. I mean, I would ask her what
Terry,
what
turn
what
it
has she heard
on.
what she heard about it.
Where are you, Terry? Are you available? Just turn your camera on and your mic on. Are you there? Yes, we can hear you.
Okay. Well, I just got a CE advertisement today about this technology. And so I can put the links in the chat for
Yes.
the CE and for the actual technology, the website. They're working on FDA approval for
Okay.
this technology, and there's clinical trials going on. They've done it in pigs to ablate the tooth bud. So, I mean, I had a little panic when I saw that because over time, we're just gonna get smaller
Mm-hmm.
and
Very interesting. I mean, that's interesting. We don't have enough room for third molar, so let's just go ahead and get rid of them
Yeah,
before they even become a problem.
I mean, that's what we do here, man. We just accept kind of the current trend instead of changing it back to what it should be. It was really funny. I don't know if you guys seen this. My mom actually sent this to me last weekend. Did you guys see this new thing, this device that allows you to control like your TV or your remote or your phone with your tongue? Did you
Yeah.
see that? Like, you can now scroll with your tongue. I was like, "Well, if they put it up on the pallet, that actually might be a nice little, like, Mayo,
Bio exercise.
exercise."
Yeah.
Instead of sitting there with, these kids with their open mouth scrolling through, social media, they gotta scroll using their
With
tongue. Give
the
the kids
tongue.
a little exercise, yeah.
Palette sweep for everybody. That would actually, can you imagine the amount of work and great exercise that it would be for people? Instead of scrolling on social media, they had to do it. A palette sweep, everybody would be great. They would need bio.
Totally.
Tiffany. Tiffany is asking, your patient mentioned MRI of head and neck and TMJ arthritis. What imaging protocol do you use for an adult patient with TMD?
Yeah, so, we don't do MRI, it's a CBCT scan, as I'm sure you guys are more well aware of. We only use MRI if needed for like complex joint cases and things like that, and we don't do that in the office. What he was saying, he said, "Oh, we took a big MRI of my entire head." What he really meant was CBCT scan.
Probably.
Yeah, no MRIs in the office yet. We still send those out to local radiology group.
Perfect. Anne has a great question about TMD. She said, "There's a lot of misunderstanding about TMD. How can we, as providers, help triage this patient's care in an integrative way, as most often these patients need to be seen by a team of providers?"
Yeah, great question, and I'm like super passionate about this. So, what I really truly believe is that at least 80%, I think more like 90 TMD patients, it Airway has precipitated that. Airway has come first. And so, a lot of the research suggests that in our younger years, I mean, there's not a lot of old people that really complain of TMD. Most of my TMD patients that walk in are like young fit females. And so,
Mm-hmm.
what young fit females are usually not going to test positive for? Sleep apnea. So why are they have all the precursors of sleep apnea. And what the research suggests is the younger we are, the more likely we are to defend our airway by grinding and clenching our teeth. So if you think about it, if your airway collapses, if you're defending your airway, if you're young, if you have a good response with your sympathetic nervous system and you activate your peripheral muscles, as soon as your teeth come together and start grinding, like why else would a 4-year-old grind their teeth? Why else would a 7-year-old grind their teeth? Why else is a 20-year-old grinding their teeth? I mean, a lot of this is in conjunction to try and keep their airway open, and pushing their jaw forward and holding high amounts of pressure in their jaw in order to keep their airway open. So what does that do to the joint? It compresses the joint. It overloads the joint. When the joint when a TM joint is like any other joint, when it exceeds its adaptive capacity, that's usually when symptoms begin. And so, we see a lot of patients that we treat very easily by, decompressing the jaw, doing some orthotics, using some laser therapy, some regenerative therapy, and then treating the underlying cause, which is the airway issue. Really getting the airway opened up, teaching them how to breathe, a lot of as you know, a lot of people that have tongue ties also grind and clench their teeth.
Mm-hmm.
I think it's all super connected. So I would say, people are scared of these TMD patients, but really it's just, people don't understand where it's coming from. And so like I'm not afraid to see anybody in pain because I always believe that there's a reason why they're in pain. And so, you're not going to get them, fixed the first day, but if you begin to work on the airway, if you begin to offload the joint, if you begin to teach them, foundational principles of chewing, swallowing, uh, talking, all that stuff. I mean, you really see these huge successful TMD cases that are in severe pain and they think you're God. They don't understand how you've treated them and how they've seen like 15 providers and they've all
Mm-hmm.
like, done something else. And it's like nobody that you've seen before even understands, the role of the airway in these patients. So, um, yeah, hopefully that answered the question. TMD, airway, interrelated, connected almost every time.
Wow. And it's very complex. And a lot of us myofunctional therapists are getting these patients first. So it's very important for us to know, okay, what is the next step? Who do we need to go to first? Can these patients be expanded or not?
Mhm.
How do you guys usually deal with this
Yeah, so,
situation?
I will say this, and I'm sure you don't want to hear this. I have found that a lot of times when a patient comes in with acute pain, like TMD pain, a lot of times we don't get myo on board right off the bat because, a lot of those exercises that we do to strengthen the airway and to teach tone, that's like almost like phase 2. So, we always do it phase 2. We finish all of our cases with myo, all of them.
Mhm,
But I'd say, we've learned this the hard way. My former myofunctional therapist, a lot of times we try to like patient come in pain. I'll give them decompression. Sound to her, she was starting to do all these exercises, and what we learned is a lot of times it flares it up.
mhm.
So I know that's unpopular in this group, but I would say
Actually not, even
definitely a
for
role,
mine.
definitely a role in myofunctional therapy with TMD patients,
Yeah.
but usually not right off the bat. And I'm really, really, really particular about MARPE and doing any comprehensive ortho as well. Like I really like to decompress the jaw do some muscle training, get them into laser treatment, starting to work on the airway at nighttime. I really think once that happens, absolutely. Comprehensive ortho, MSE. I've seen a lot of cases that came to me with pain, had no idea that they had an airway problem. We get them decompressed, we get them out of pain, we start working on their function, and then all of a sudden they're like, well, I want to do ortho now, and do expansion. So we've seen the lifespan of that, and I think that is sort of the order of operations for how I think about it.
We love it, and medicine is our TMJ girl over here. So she says, "No, totally, I totally agree." Yes,
Oh,
we're
good,
definitely in
good.
agreement. We usually preach that out of 10 patients that come through our door, um, 6 of them are gonna need something else besides Mayo first. So we're
Yeah,
really big at sending the patients to where they need to go first.
that's
Let's see. Amazing work, fascinating interview of the gentleman. Are you doing oral lace treatments too, since your practice uses off appliances?
we just started.
How do you like
Yeah,
it?
we just started. We just got trained. We're going to go to some advanced training, I think, in May. Out there with I don't know if you guys are familiar with Angie Tenholder.
I'm not. Do you guys
You
know?
you guys know who Derek Nordstrom is?
Yes,
He's ALF guy. She's like his.
the oral lace girl.
Yeah, she's like his predecessor. So she does some really cool classes. But yeah, we got trained, and we're using it. We're using it for a lot of our patients with adults and kids. And now Joanne is about to get trained. Dr. Green is about to get trained on baby lace.
Yeah, that's fantastic. I think that we had somebody, whoever came to talk about Orlays, she mentioned her about their protocols. Anne is asking, how are you decompressing the joint?
Yeah, so we make a lot of like daytime and
Orthotic.
nighttime orthotics. Our daytime orthotic is usually it almost looks like Invisalign, but it's actually made out of PMT material that has a harder surface for chewing. So we basically will put a little orthotic in on the lower teeth, and we'll set that to what's called the phonetic bite. So
Mm-hmm.
for those of you who are SLPs, phonetic is when you say S, 66, 67, 65, like when you make the S sound, that actually puts the jaw in the phonetic position. So we capture the phonetic position, we build our orthotic to that position, and that's how we get the jaw decompressed. We do 24-hour decompression for about 10 to 12 weeks. Meanwhile, we're also treating them at nighttime. If they have an airway problem, we're making them an appliance that actually will help with their airway. If they don't have an airway problem, we're usually just using some sort of decompression appliance, sometimes with a ring so their jaw doesn't fall back. And so, I will say this, I truly believe that you should not use the same appliance during the day as you do at nighttime because it doesn't make sense. During the day, we need to talk, we need to walk, we need to chew, we need to be awake, we need to do awake things. So it wouldn't make sense to build an appliance at the same dimensions during the day as you would at nighttime. So that's why always with our TMD decompression patients, we'll make a daytime orthotic and a nighttime orthotic, and then the daytime orthotic is usually one we can get rid of after about 10 to 12 weeks because you don't want these patients to get, reliant upon an orthotic. You want to get them in, you want to treat the root cause. That 10 to 12 weeks gives you a chance to get to the root of the problem and begin fixing it. And then you get the orthotic out of there. There's a lot of dentists, and I don't disagree with how anybody treats, but it's not my philosophy. I do not like daytime orthotics to stay in longer than 12 weeks. I like it in, and then I like it out. The nighttime orthotic, of course, we can use that a lot longer. Some patients are lifetime, some patients are until they want to go to the
Okay.
next step. But yeah, I truly believe that daytime orthotic, nighttime orthotic should be different. One is for sleeping, one is for being awake, and definitely get that daytime orthotic out of there as soon as you can get that patient out of pain, as soon as you can get that patient feeling better, so that you don't have to deal with a lot of irreversible bite changes and things like that.
Perfect. That was going to be my question. So you usually do this decompression on patients that are actively in pain.
Yeah. Yep.
Okay, so if somebody comes in, we take a CBCT, we see that there's some TMJ issues, they're not necessarily complaining of pain. They need expansion. Are you okay going straight with expansion at that point if they're not in pain?
Yeah. Yeah.
Okay.
Totally. I mean, I've looked at more jaw joints than maybe the
Oh,
majority of the world,
yeah.
and I can tell you it's wild what I see. I see patients that come in that have the most broken down jaw joints in the world. They have no pain whatsoever. They think they function good. They can eat anything they want. I mean, it's amazing. I'm like, do you realize you have like severe degenerative joint disease in that right joint? That is why your jaw goes like this. When you open, they're like, nah, no pain, all good. So I would say you have to educate the patients on what you
Mhm.
see, and say, hey, listen, when we go through expansion, when we're doing a lot of these restorative, resolving type things, you could have a flare up of these things because you do have some underlying things that nobody's told you
Mhm.
about. But you just educate the patients, and if it
Okay.
happens, then you deal with it. You deal with it.
All right, we're gonna have one more question. Before we do, I do want to thank our Area Circle members. We're only able to bring this Thursday night lives, study clubs, whatever you guys want to call them, lectures, classes, meetings to you guys for free live because of the support of our members. Also, we have a podcast and our directory of professionals. Those are resources that we offer the community, and it's only we're only allowed or available to the public because you guys pay for our membership. So we really want to thank each one of you. We could not do what we do without your support. We have Dr. Michelle Weddle next week, January 25th. So come join us for that. And what else do we have going on, girls? I think that is it. If you guys are not in the Facebook group yet, please join us. It's Airway Circle Professionals. And if you're not in our directory, it's free. Join us, airwaycircle.com/directory. Last question. What is the biggest piece you feel the dental community is missing when treating TMD and airway?
Oh man, what a loaded question! Holy smokes!
Anne. Thank you,
What is
Anne.
the biggest piece the dental community is missing? Education. I mean, that's why you guys exist, right? You guys, we got to get this out there. We got to show people cases. There's 90% of dentists just kind of they'll go about their life never taking one of these courses, never looking deeper, never fully understanding actually what they're treating. So, education, that's what it is. Open minds, open-minded people, that we got to continue to grow. Thank you for all the awesome, amazing work you guys do. You guys are, become pillars, in this space. I know you are highly well respected by everyone I talk to, and thank you so much for all your contributions. It's really a thankless job, and you guys are doing amazing things. I'm assuming a lot of you guys will be down in New Orleans here in a couple of months.
Yes, we are. And
Man, I got the whole AFD coming down with me. Dr. Green,
yay!
Yana, yeah, all of our a lot of our assistants. Let's do it up right down there.
For ADSM, great. And do you have another meeting coming up anytime?
No, I put all that stuff on pause. Really, I have not done.
It's
I've
one of the
not done.
best ones I've ever been.
Oh well, thank you, thank you. I mean, Dr. Clower, who's like one of my best friends in the
Yes.
world, he's hosting the next one in at the University of Notre Dame in the stadium,
Okay. Oh,
which is
awesome.
awesome. Yeah, so
I was gonna go last year, and there was
yeah,
a hurricane that closed down the airport,
yeah, okay, yeah, yeah, yeah,
and I
yeah, yeah.
couldn't go.
You know what's funny? Lou Holtz was supposed to be the keynote
Yeah.
speaker. He couldn't come because of that storm.
Oh, good. I was stuck with him.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. He was down in Florida or whatever, and he couldn't
Mhm.
come. So anyway, we're gonna run it back. I think this fall. So keep an eye out for that. But the Airway Palooza, the AADSM,
Yes.
AAPD, AACP. I try and make it to as many as possible. So
We did too. Somebody's asking how do we find the podcast? Any of the podcast channels, you can go on Apple Podcasts. It's called Airway Answers by Airway Circle. We just changed the name of the podcast. If you guys didn't see that, it used to be Airway Circle Radio because we had several speakers or hosts. Now we just have Nicole, and some of our Airway Circle night lives also go on the podcast. So Airway Answers by Airway Circle. Go check it out and follow us. Thank you so much. It has been a wonderful talk. Thank you so much, Dr. Robinson. Tell everyone over there that we said hey, and we can't wait to see you in New Orleans.
awesome. See y'all soon. Thank you,
Bye,
Renata.
everybody. Have a good night.
Good night.